Europe slams exaggerated Trump tariff threat and prepares to retaliate against the U.S.
Here's a summary of the article.
The EU has hit back at new U.S. proposals to target European goods with tariffs, following a World Trade Organization ruling over subsidies for Airbus. Trade tensions between the EU and US flared Monday after the US said it's considering $11 billion worth of retaliatory tariffs on a range of goods in response to illegal subsidies the EU granted to the aerospace firm. The WTO ruled last year that these allowances had caused adverse effects to the US, with the decision coming after a long-running litigation battle between Washington and Brussels over their respective aviation giants. A spokesman for the company said there is no legal basis for the US move to impose sanctions, and said the EU had complied with WTO rulings. The WTO has ruled that Airbus received unfair subsidies from the EU, and US President Trump has, rather unusually, decided to agree with the WTO, Donovan said in a regular podcast Tuesday. Whether US President Trump would be quite so willing to accept the verdict of the WTO about unfair assistance from the US to Boeing, which is an ongoing case, is a rather different matter. Even once we are done with the US and China, the US will turn to Europe, Lawrence Boone, chief economist at OECD, told CNBC's Steve Sedgwick at the Ambrosetti workshop in Italy on Friday.
This post received a score of 19,513, with an upvote ratio of 85%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
Use the word slams one more time and I'll fucking puke.
It makes me feel like we're 1 inch away from reading owns, destroys, Trump-tards, liptids on the headlines.
Reminds me of those Ben Shapiro compilations that flooded YouTube a year or so ago. By a year ago you mean today still? Fucking YouTube. Fighting a trade war on multiple fronts. Seems like a great idea.
Well, according to Ivana, thank you, inveterate asshole, for the correction. The only book she's ever seen on his nightstand was about Hitler. If that's the only thing you've ever read, maybe a two-front war sounds like a great idea to you.
He probably only read up to the sacking of Stalingrad before opening a second trade war front. Boy, he's in for a treat when he gets a few more chapters in.
Bold of you to assume he read.
It's simple. Tim Apple whipped him up a special iPod so Barron could put Dad's favorite book on tape on it, which Trump hides in a cutout of the book. Probably.
The case has been going on for a while. In the past, the WTO has ruled that the B&O tax rate provided by Washington state was illegal and then also showed the U.S. didn't actually end them. However, Boeing has said they will comply with the ruling. From the article, the U.S. official also goes on to say they will have tariffs ready when the WTO releases their final report, which will specify the exact size of the illegal benefits Airbus received. EU claims the $11 billion number Trump tossed around is much higher than what the WTO will find, but they don't deny their actions constituted an illegal subsidy. Considering the US and EU has a $39.2 trillion combined economy, we're talking like a few basis points of impact to overall GDP even if the WTO approved the full $11 billion of tariffs, which is unlikely.
Thanks for the info.
Grab your popcorns and enjoy the shitshow. As someone living in the UK, this is a great distraction from our own shitshow.
Man, that sounds like drinking to avoid thinking about something serious though. Are you sure that's a good idea too? Oh, for fuck's sake, okay, forget what I was saying before. Move over so I can sit down and watch the shitshow with you because a distraction is looking nice right now.
Why is it that the US, UK, and Australia seem to be in a race to see who can fuck up their own country the worst?
All conservative governments, mate.
It's definitely this, but we can't forget to mention that Russia has been definitely caught with its fingers in 2 out of 3 of the instances mentioned, and has probably just not been caught on the third one yet. Kinda funny how the conservative parties in multiple countries don't seem bothered by Russian interference. Weird, huh?
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.